create a file on the framework. We want to compile it, and we want to run it, and we want to display the output. So how do we create a file in Fudge? We use the host, and we're given some methods for the host. We're given a compile, create, delete file, execute. And we're also given access to other modules available, so that we can extend the functionality of modules with a module. What we want to do is we want to create a file, and we want to give it contents. What we want is a C++ file that basically outputs hello world. So I happen to have it saved in my clipboard. Create file returns a handle to a file. We're going to have to use that handle to compile and execute files. So let's look at how to compile this. The compile method takes two parameters, the file handle, which we have, and a language. Languages are stored in the Fudge database and need to be retrieved accordingly. If you're familiar with LINQ, LINQ to SQL in C#, you're gonna know what I'm doing. LINQ to SQL is basically an OR mapper from SQL to an object-oriented C# design, so that we can use an object-oriented architecture that then translates automatically to SQL. There is absolutely no SQL that has been written to develop Fudge, which is something that is extremely useful for maintainability. So we're going to create a Fudge data context that basically gives us access to the database, and then we want to, we want to get C++. So we're going to access the languages table, and we're going to get the one and only C++. If you know the language ID, you can search it by ID. I do not remember that language ID, so I'm just going to get the language that contains C++. So when I'm done with that, I can get a handle to my executable. So I'm going to compile in C++ my file. Now, let's assume that this program did not compile. Then I want to catch a compilation error exception that might occur, and output the message to the console. Otherwise, what I want to do is I want to get the result of the execution. So let's execute. And let's see what parameters we can pass to execute. We can pass it a memory limit, so that whenever an executable exceeds a certain amount of memory requested, it will stop. Let's give it about 16 megs to run. We want a time limit, so it will not hang forever and eventually keep other people in the queue. So we want to give it a 5-second timeout. We want to limit the amount of output so that we don't flood standard output. So let's give it a hello world isn't that much, so we can give it 128 characters. And we want to give it input. We have no input, so we can leave that empty. So once we have our result, all we have to do is we can simply print it. And that's our module. I have to thank Dr. Stansford for sponsoring us and giving us t-shirt funding.
And I want an A for my compiler, please.
I want to thank Dr. Show for giving us the money for the hardware.
Money?
He doesn't know yet.
Oh.
Thank you.
You want blank check, Show?
Yeah. Make it to Fudge Inc.
Fudge Inc.
And I want to thank the English Walnuts Fudge Brownies Little Debbie company for making awesome fudge.
Thanks for listening. And it's a wrap.